Okay, hello everybody, welcome back to another Wednesday. I've just had the car checked at the garage, and it had been a year since I had that whole kerfuffle with the previous car. Really quickly, the previous car was sent to its annual checkup, and we have to do that every year in the Netherlands after a certain car age. Otherwise, you can't really drive it on the road anymore because it has to be roadworthy and all that. So the roadworthiness test failed back then with the previous car because they couldn't read the VIN number, which is the vehicle identification number, because it had rusted over, and so I couldn't really get it tested. And before that was fixed, that was a whole business about having to have it transported back and forth, because after the date would expire, I wouldn't be able to drive it anymore, which was coming up in a couple of weeks. So I was like, okay, this is not going to work out, because the next time that I'll be able to have a new VIN number printed was after the dates that the car would legally be allowed to drive without having to be checked again. So that's led to buying the car that I'm currently in. So I was a little bit anxious today to go and have this one tested, because I don't have a lot of luck with cars apparently, at least not the past few cars that I've had, the two ones before this one. And I'm polishing something up in my hand. I'll show it to you in a moment, but I just wanted to try and get some of the glue residue off. Anyway, so I went to the dealership, which is nearby my house, and so I thought, well, at least they will know how to replace the parts if need be and all that. I have had it maintained not too long ago, like a couple months. I think earlier this year, that I just randomly booked an appointment thinking, I haven't actually had this car serviced yet, even though I bought it last year in what was it, May? Late May? I think it was May or early April. Probably April, because it's about the same time that I went and bought this one. About the same time that I also switched jobs. So there was that going on. But anyway, so I sent it there, and they checked it out, and they said that there was essentially no issues with it, but they did call and say, hey, you could have the ventilation ducts and everything cleaned out, because it's probably been a while, and it's an older car, and all we really do is just clean out the vents that go from the outside of the car inward, and then everything will be good, because otherwise there might be mold and stuff growing in there, and that would be bad for your lungs, blah blah blah. And that was going to cost me about 90 euros, I think. And so I was like, okay, sure, because that didn't really bump the total up too much higher than they already said that it was going to be. And it ended up being around 300 euros for the check and the maintenance that they did. So that was okay, and I went and sat there for a while as well at the dealership itself. First I went to the store, and then I went to the dealership to wait the final 45 minutes to an hour, I think. I had books on me, so it's not like I was bored. I was just reading Flowers for Algernon. This was reading at the store. And of course check my phone every once in a while. So after that I was like, okay, it's Wednesday. I initially thought that it was going to take until about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. That's what they kind of said, it could take that long, because sometimes if you have a car tested, then the CBR, I think it is, or what is that place called? Let me just quickly check their name. The RDW, sorry. They tend to keep track of people's testing results, and sometimes they will do a quality control check. They just say, oh, this one needs to be checked extra for whatever reason. They do that at random, so it could be that your car has to be checked by them just to make sure that their check of the garage was okay and that their findings matched. So that didn't happen today. In other words, I was out there about an hour and a half after I turned the car in. So I thought I would go to the thrift store again today, because I just wanted to do something with the rest of my afternoon. And I found something interesting that I was just polishing, and it is this thing. I'm trying to hold it up so you can see. Look. It says Iberia over there on the thing. Can you see that? Maybe I fold it like this. Kinda. Well, anyway, it says Iberia, and it looks like a gigantic needle, so I thought this might be, when I saw it in the store, this might be some type of a needle that they use for making nets or something, although those do look a little different. But I looked it up, and it's actually a letter opener, although I might still try using it as a needle, because it has a gigantic eye in the back, and sometimes there is this chunky yarn that you could use that I usually do like with my hands, just so I can use my fingers instead of tools. But I think that we could also just use this gigantic thing for that. Why the heck not? So we'll have to look a little bit further into this thing. I looked up Iberia letter opener because I saw a different one that looked just like this. It was also called a letter opener in the exact same shape. That was a different brand, so I'm not really sure why this is Iberia and the other one was not. And I found lots of things from Iberia, mostly swords and daggers and things like that, like decorative stuff, not real stuff. Although I'm pretty sure you could sharpen it and use it for sure, but just decorative items, mostly like reproduction, katanas and stuff like that, and some sai and some regular swords and things, which I have no interest in, so I'm not actually going to buy any of that. So I didn't find anything that looked like a letter opener, but it is actually printed on the blade, so we'll have to take a look at that, see what's going on with that. Other than that, just bought a couple items of clothing because I felt like it. Tomorrow is Liberation Day, and I'm not sure if I have the day off, actually, because I heard the people at the store talking about how they were off tomorrow, but I'm not sure about what days are considered days off at my new work, where I've been since July, so almost a year. They don't really have a very official list of these are the days that you are officially like off from work or something along those lines. They tend to go with the average like national holidays. Like if it's a holiday for most people, then it's probably also a holiday for us, but I'm not sure, so I want to kind of check that to see if I can maybe get an email from somebody, or I don't really want to call somebody or something like that. I'm not really sure how it works because you know, and I don't know if everybody else in the company knows how it works either, because it's kind of very loosely organized in that sense. We don't have an official HR department, so stuff like the time off and sick days and stuff like that is very much off the cuff. We see what happens when it happens type of deal. So it could be a day off, and I could also find out that it actually wasn't, and then I spent my entire day doing nothing, and I'll have to do that some other time, like catch up on those hours that I then would have missed. Although we also don't have an hour registration system either, so it's very loose. Like I said, you kind of work according to the honor system, but I don't want to take a day off if there's no day off officially given. So I have to figure out what that's all about. Nobody said anything about it. Now I know that it is May holiday, and a lot of people are actually like off from work for the entire week, but they did take hours for the entire week, I think. I don't know what their hour registrations are. I'll check the calendar, because I still need to work another hour before the end of the day, because of course I had to take leave off early, at least leave work early for bringing the car to the garage. So I'll check if the calendar says that it's blocked for that day, because that's usually a pretty good indication. If it's blocked, that usually means that there's like no work on that day, and then I hope I'm right. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. In any case, need to put the flag back up, of course, because today it is Remembrance Day, May the 4th. Also Star Wars Day, but you know, around the Netherlands, of course, we remember the people who fell during the war, and veterans in general, like mostly the Second World War will be discussed, but of course also other conflicts that we have been in as a nation, and people who have suffered from said conflicts in the past will be honored today. And they're going to put like a wreath on the main square in Amsterdam at the monument as well. The War Monument gets a wreath. I think a lot of important people will be putting a wreath there, including the royal couple. So that'll be out there on a live stream or TV as well for people to watch. And we'll have the moment of silence, I think, at 8 p.m. We'll have like a minute of silence at 8 p.m. So I'll have to remember to actually adhere to that. Not that I'm terribly noisy when I'm at home either, because I'm home alone most of the days, pretty much all the time. So I tend to talk a lot. Maybe just like turn music off at 8 for about a minute or something. We'll do something to preserve it. I'll probably go and find a live stream that is doing that whole thing. They have one every year, like a TV show, but of course nowadays everything will be live streamed as well, I hope. And then I'll just observe that, and then we'll be silent for as long as they are silent, so that'll get taken care of, no problem. And like I said, I don't know about tomorrow. Tomorrow is officially Liberation Day, when we were liberated. I think most of the Netherlands wasn't liberated by Canadians. Some may have been liberated by Americans, I'm not really sure. Certain areas probably had more Americans than Canadians. And other areas like the area that I'm in also had a lot of Polish troops, and we were officially liberated by the Polish, combination with a couple of Canadian regiments, maybe, I don't know. We have a Polish graveyard, so we probably were mostly liberated by the Poles, and we also have a lot of Polish street names in certain areas of town, and there's also a lot of people who just stayed behind after the war. I think I mentioned it during the stream last Tuesday as well, like, certain people, like Polish soldiers, were not allowed back into Poland because the regiment at the time there considered them traitors, so they weren't allowed back into their own country, so they just kind of went back to the places where they were before, and I guess where people were nice to them, which of course would then be the people that you've just liberated, because they'll be happy to see you. So they came back here and they lived there ever since. So there's a lot of that as well in the community. I'm just gonna drive home now because I've already been to the store while I was waiting for the car to be checked, so I don't need to go to the grocery store anymore. I'm just gonna go home, work that one last hour, see if I can figure out if tomorrow is the day off or not, and then I'll see you next week, I think, because we don't really have anything else planned, I don't think. Nope, we're just gonna have our stream on Tuesday and Friday as per usual. If you guys want to see something else, by the way, if you're kind of tired of Minecraft or Don't Starve Together or Stardew Valley, let me know. If you have any suggestions for other games, we could try that as well, because of course every once in a while we need to freshen things up so that everything doesn't go stale. In the meantime, make sure to stay healthy, happy, and safe, and all that good stuff. I'll see you around, and bye bye for now.